champion!
It's almost!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hello, you're watching Firstpost with me, Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, the Indian Premier League is set to kickstart this weekend, and this year, the sweet 18th edition, the IPL brand value seems to be adulting too. What is the reason for such a massive surge in the valuation of IPL, and which franchise is primarily responsible for this? IOC has voted for a female African president for the first time in their history, but the youngest IOC president, Kirsty Coventry, has a huge task on her hands, that of executing a smooth LA Olympics 2028, because standing in the way of her vision will be USA President Donald Trump. Will the first round of the battle be around transgender athletes? In cricket, Australia and controversy seems to be the latest concoction. Australian cricketer Brad Hogg has been slammed for mocking Pakistan ODI captain Mohammad Rizwan. Get this, it's for his English. More on the show, but first a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket and the IPL, Kolkata's home match against Lucknow has been moved to Guwahati. The fixture, which was scheduled for April 6, was moved out of Eden Gardens due to lack of security on match day. The Kolkata police expressed inability to provide force due to Ram Navami, a Hindu festival. Moving to football and the Nations League, French captain Kylian Mbappe's return to the squad after 6 months ended in defeat. Croatia beat France 2-0 in the quarterfinal of the first leg. The 2021 winners will need to score 3 or more goals in the second leg to stay alive in the tournament. Meanwhile, in World Cup qualifiers, Japan has become the first nation to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The Asian nation beat Bahrain 2-0 in the third round of the AFC qualifiers. Daichi Kamada scored the opener and Takefusa Kubo hit the winner in the 87th minute. Japan are unbeaten in Group C with 3 more games left. More good news for Japan. Former women's world number 1 Naomi Osaka has entered Miami Open's round of 32. Osaka beat Ludmila Samsonova in straight sets. The Japanese will next face Hailey Baptiste. Osaka hasn't won a singles title since her Australian Open triumph in 2021. And summing it up with news from NBA, one of the legendary franchises in sports, Boston Celtics are set for a $6.1 billion sale. A group led by private equity executive Williams Shishom has agreed to buy the team. This will be the most expensive buyout in the history of North American sports, surpassing the previous 2023 deal of $6.05 billion of NFL franchise Washington Commanders. The Indian Premier League 2025 season is upon us. The 18th edition is expected to create more buzz, especially after India's Champions Trophy win, and a chance to see international superstars who do not feature in the national setup any longer up close. The biggest in that list, of course, is former India captain Chennai's own Tala Mahendra Singh Dhoni. And every edition for a few years now builds with the nervous anticipation of whether this will be his last, and hoping he'd say definitely not. So what makes Chennai franchise so very special and one of the strongest brands in the IPL? Brand valuation doesn't just depend on fan following. The most obvious things contributing to this is, of course, the brand endorsements, sponsorships, profits that the franchises make, and the revenue they generate. But all that is heavily influenced by the popularity of the team as well. Now, before we get to that, let's look at the changes the league has seen. The IPL, which started in 2008, was valued at $2 billion the next year. And now, 16 years on, the brand value has increased to a staggering $12 billion, a 13% increase from last season as well. And it isn't just the league, the franchises are also getting richer. The Chennai franchise tops the list with a $122 million valuation. Mumbai comes in a close second, $119 million. Bengaluru, of course, is third. Kolkata at 109 million comes in next, Hyderabad at 85, Rajasthan, Delhi, Gujarat, Punjab and Lucknow, all hovering in that $60s million mark. No surprise there. The two top teams are Chennai and Mumbai, the two most successful franchises in IPL history. But sitting at number 3 is a franchise that has never won a league title. So how did they get to number 3? It is mostly down to the influence of Virat Kohli, and the promise of maybe this year will be it. It is the pull of Kohli that has kept the loyal fan base passionate all through, and the same goes for other franchises too. Over in Chepauk, Chennai's home ground, it is fans waiting to see the MS Dhoni magic. Strutting out to bat with the willow tucked under his arm, looking up at the sky behind him. It's pure mayhem when that happens. And with retirement talks keeping everyone on tenterhooks, the die-hard MSDians, the fan base of Dhoni, only continue to get that much more invested. And the franchise keeps the fans intrigued too by teasing them with such visuals. Now, the same can be said for the Mumbai franchise too, a team loaded with superstars like Rohit Sharma, Jasprit Bumrah, Hardik Pandya and Suryakumar Yadav, the Indian core. Enough to have such a massive fan appeal, but it is also the chaos surrounding the captaincy change from Rohit to Hardik last year that became a huge talking point. But with Hardik shining for India at the T20 World Cup last year, later, and then the Champions Trophy just a while back, maybe the tide of the fan wave is slowly turning. And it is factors like these that really contribute to franchises getting richer with every passing season, and the buzz only increasing. Any cricket action is bound to generate such fanfare. The IPL more so, as it is clothed in the garb of not so serious but serious enough to be invested in. It has made its way into every possible space. The 2-month-long event is part of dinner conversations, office talks, a topic during family gatherings. The beauty of it is that the fan base isn't just restricting to a particular city. A Chennai-based cricket lover may not be a Chennai franchise fan. He or she could be supporting Bengaluru, for instance. Even in a family, come Sunday, it's highly likely that the wife supporting the Mumbai Indians will be watching the match alongside a husband, her partner, cheering for the Chennai side. So when the rivalries are born at home, how can the league not be popular among the 1.4 billion people in India and then, of course, parts of the world over? Now, it's been a rather historic day for sports and sporting administration. The IOC, International Olympic Committee, has voted for a female president for the very first time. Kirsty Coventry of Zimbabwe will head the IOC from June 23, 2025 this year, right up to 2033. And before we head into what is going to be Coventry's first biggest task at hand, I want to show you how she won. Kirsty, for the uninitiated, is an Olympian. She's represented Zimbabwe at the Olympics and is a champion swimmer. She won 7 Olympic medals that included 2 golds. She immediately entered politics thereafter, heading the Sports, Youth, Arts and Recreation Ministry. That's how she rose into prominence, from being an athlete to an administrator. But who were her top competitors and how did she beat them? The youngest candidate was up against some very experienced hands. First up, of course, Sebastian Coe, 68 years of age, of course, an old guard here, former British athlete, president of London Olympics and president of World Athletics since 2015. His Royal Highness Prince Faisal Al Hussein, Jordanian Royal President of the Jordanian Olympic Committee, also up there, long-time IOC member. David Lepartin, French President of the UCI, which is the cycling governing body. Johan Elish, Swedish-born billionaire businessman, officially represents Great Britain in the IOC. Juan Antonio Samaranch Jr., he's Spanish, son of course, former IOC president by the same name, and Morinar Watanabe, Japanese president of FIG, which is the International Gymnastics Federation. And normally, the procedure for voting processes leave, of course, it happens in case there is no proper majority. Of course, everyone comes in and casts the vote, and the candidate with the, in case there is no clear majority, the candidate with the least number of votes is eliminated. And then, of course, there's another round that follows till, of course, a majority is achieved. Now, the voting was unanimous on this count, as right after everyone cast their votes the very first time through the electronic system, the fact that a decision was made was clear. There was a flurry of activity, and the outgoing president, Thomas Bach, held a simple card up, making this a landmark decision. And landmark just simply also because of the votes that poured in Coventry's favour. That's how the voting took place. Coventry won 49 of the 97 valid votes cast. The closest competitor was Samaranch, but even he was a while away by a massive margin there. 28 votes is what he could gather. And third was Sebastian Coe, who only managed to get 8 votes. The rest, of course, who came in were all pretty marginal. This is exactly why it was such a remarkable victory for Coventry. And of course, the internet exploded post this historic announcement. But Coventry has very little time to enjoy this moment of reveling at becoming the first female African as well as the youngest IOC president ever. Her biggest challenge is at her doorstep. It's the LA Olympics, and the preparations for it will start anytime now. How does she foresee working with Donald Trump, who doesn't see eye to eye with Coventry on various issues?
You know what, at the end of the day, President Trump is a huge supporter of sport. There's never been a sitting president that has attended the Super Bowl, and he did. He was the president at the time when LA was awarded and when the FIFA World Cup was awarded. I truly believe that he wants the LA 28 Games to be a huge success. It will take sitting down and having a good conversation with him, sharing with him our values and where we want to be, how we want LA to be successful, and, you know, being very clear on the different priorities for us as a movement.
The primary point of friction will most definitely be the inclusion of transgender athletes, something IOC has always been keen on and Donald Trump has always vehemently opposed.
Testosterone is not a perfect test. Many women can have testosterone which is in what would be called male levels and still be women.
From now on, women's sports will be only for women.
So Coventry will most certainly have a battle on her hands because IOC is the final word on the Olympics. Trump is no pushover. LA 2028 has to be viewed as a moment of crowning glory for America, the America that he is looking to build here on. And in the middle of all of this, Imane Khalif, the boxer who was caught in the middle of this storm and in some ways sparked what is now a huge debate, has sounded out her greatest intent of competing at the 2028 Olympics. How will Coventry handle this pressing matter?
We're going to create a task force that's going to look at the transgender issue and the protection of the female category. And once we've made the decision collectively as the IOC with the international federations, that decision will be made very clear and we won't move from that decision.
What we can get from that strong statement is this: Coventry is fierce about the protection of the female category in sport, and second, whatever decision the IOC makes will be final. There will be no changes to that. Kirsty Coventry also says she's been dealing with difficult men in high positions ever since she was 20 years old, but this is one face-off that will be tough to negotiate. Now, I think it's all leading up to a classic battle that can only be described as an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, and we're waiting for the fireworks to begin. Australian cricket controversies are the real buzzword right now. If it is not their media getting furious after India's Champions Trophy win and accusing the Asian giants of bias during the tournament, then it is their cricketers sparking fury with their actions, even the former cricketers. Two-time World Cup winner, Australia's Brad Hogg has done himself in with his latest act. The spinner mocked Pakistan captain Mohammad Rizwan in a video that has now gone viral. And no, it was not regarding his cricketing skills, but his proficiency or the lack of it in English. In the video, a man pretending to be Rizwan can be seen making fun of the cricketer's English, and Hogg, on the other hand, played along by interviewing him and having a laugh about it. And ever since the video went viral, the former Aussie cricketer has faced the wrath of cricket fans for his ill-thought gesture. The thing to note here is the fact that Pakistan's media and fans are the first ones up ready to take a jibe at their own cricketers. But the very passionate and cricket-crazy Pakistan fans understand the game, and their love for cricket is true. So heavy criticism is solely based on their players' failure on the field or some decisions concerning the game, as we saw during the Champions Trophy disaster too. The first to fire shots at Pakistan were their former players, their media and their fans up in centre. And they trolled, slammed and criticised the team for such a horrid show, and at home they were as harsh as any could get. And if the very same fans are defending Rizwan, then you ought to realize you've probably gone a tad too far, just proving how distasteful Hogg's act was, something Rizwan's teammate slammed him for too. Now, yes, Hogg has taken up a career as a YouTuber post-retiring from the game. He's indulging in a lot of content creation. He also does a bit of commentary. But even if you see the channel, it is mostly about analyzing the game. He has some good insights about the techniques of players, rivalries, and anything that's related to the sport itself. Something that is expected from a player who's represented one of the most successful teams in the world. So maybe he should stick to doing just that, because what he did wasn't funny. He mocked somebody who doesn't even have English as his first language, not even his second, but his third, after Pashto and Urdu. Much like many Indian cricketers as well, whose English fluency is nowhere near that of Hindi or their mother tongue, depending on whichever state that they've come from. Yes, since cricket is played majorly by Commonwealth countries, English works as a common language, but a cricketer doesn't need to have a certificate in linguistic skills. That's not what he or she is here for, because Rizwan is good at what he does, wicket-keeping and batting, represents Pakistan at the international stage, and it isn't just Rizwan who doesn't have the best of skills when it comes to English. Some of the biggest superstars in the world too have been through something similar. Lionel Messi, despite living in America for over a year now, still prefers to speak in Spanish, Sergio Ramos's English isn't the same as his defensive skills. Carlos Tevez, another footballer who refused to learn English despite living for 7 years in England. In fact, when they do speak English, however broken it is, it gets hailed for at least attempting to. Like Lionel Messi was for uttering 2 words, bad boys, in a commercial advert recently. So why is a cricketer, a captain of Pakistan's ODI squad, getting trolled for his English? That too from a former cricketer who's been through the same grind. Shouldn't Hogg have considered the implications of such a joke before playing into this? Time for Last Serve. We next bring you visuals from Mexico. The famous bullfight tradition in Mexico City continues in the world's biggest bull ring, just without bloodshed. Take a look. Something that's also got the animal rights activists and, of course, the purists, the ones who enjoy this, in a bit of a contest and a face-off too. But that wraps it up here on Firstpost. Of course, it's going to be a busy weekend. And, of course, there's much to look forward to as we bring you constant coverage of the Indian Premier League. I'll see you after this, though. Take care. Bye.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister Lakshman.
Good afternoon.
Making headlines in India well before you landed here. New Delhi has raised concerns in the recent past vis-a-vis the Khalistani separatists that operate in New Zealand. How do you propose to address these concerns?
In our democracy, we believe in the freedom of speech.
Organizations like the Al-Qaeda or ISIS were to hold a referendum in New Zealand, something related to one of your Western partners. Would you say the same?
We have very well-defined laws in our democracy.
No specific conversation on Khalistan on this visit.
It was raised with me. I also raised back our position.
Are you willing to be open to these concerns from New Delhi?
As I keep coming back to you to say, we have strong laws in our system.
Do you think that Ukraine is at its weakest position?
This war is not about Ukraine.
Do you believe that your president was insulted? Yes or no question. Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.
Diplomacy will work?
Yes,
Do you
it
think
will.
Russia will give up the territory if there is no ceasefire? Do you propose to keep fighting?
We are ready to resist.
Do you think there will be peace?
Many countries gave us 3 days.
President Trump said you don't have any cards.
We do not have another choice.
How do you keep fighting?
You ask me once again the same question.
Because you've not answered my question.
We have enough capacities to keep fighting.